Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, from NBC5, Diana Boring. Times like these, I don't know how you people do what you do, you TV people. Good afternoon and welcome. Before we begin, I want to publicly acknowledge the extraordinary efforts of our luncheon chair, Carol Stutzky, and her co-chairs, Carol Fowler and Tom Secchi. They have created a terrific program for us today, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. I want to thank, too, the Silver Circle Nomination Committee, chaired by Dylan Smith, for once again bringing us such exceptional honorees. As you know, the Silver Circle Awards were established to recognize the achievements of broadcasters with careers of 25 years or more, individuals who have made significant contributions to Chicago television. This is the 7th time we have gathered for this purpose, and for the TV Academy, it is a labor of love. We are honored today to have many previous inductees with us, and I'd like to ask all of them to stand and be recognized. Sheldon Cooper, Ward Claw, Red Quinlan, Sterling Red Quinlan, Dorsey Connors, Don Meyer, and just celebrating her 92nd birthday this month, Rachel Stevenson. Ed Morris. Russ Ewing. John Drury. Mary D. And Scott Craig. We also want to send our get well wishes to another past honoree unable to be with us today. Just got out of the hospital today, Jack Brickhouse. As we celebrate Chicago's proud broadcast heritage, it's a joy to once again count on a Chicago area native to host our event. She's a gifted comedic actress and 6-time National Emmy Award winner. She has received creative and critical acclaim in her classic performances in the Mary Tyler Moe Show as the Happy Homemaker, the deliciously naughty Happy Homemaker, Sue Ann Nivens, and as St. Olaf's charmingly naive Rose Nyland on the Golden Girls. We have also learned and laughed along with her through decades as a talk show host, regular rather, and fill-in for Johnny Carson on many occasions, and as a highly competitive game show contestant. Luckily for her loyal viewers and fans everywhere, she will return in the fall to CBS with Melanie Griffith in a new show called Me and Henry, and we know that if she's in it, it will be great success. Talented, award-winning, brilliant, comedian, animal lover. The password is Betty White.
Thank you so much, and it really is. I was just asked if I enjoyed coming to do things like this. No, not to do things like this, but when I am invited to Chicago, it's usually to play with broadcasters, and that's what's more fun than anything. It's like a family. That's the beauty of being in this business. No matter where you meet, you could meet in Timbuktu, and you still, there's a family tie there, and it really means so much. I was born in Chicago. Well, I was born across the street from Chicago, in the West Suburban Hospital. One side of the street is Oak Park, and one side is Chicago, and I guess my folks picked the Oak Park. Maybe it was an emergency, I don't know. Of course, that was a long time ago. I'm not sure Illinois was a state yet. But I enjoy coming back here whenever I can, and particularly for today, because it's not only the honorees, which is wonderful, but the presenters and everybody in this room are people that you just want to know and want to spend some time with, and believe me, it's deeply appreciated. I see what Diane meant. The thing, I don't know how we do what we do either. Mostly, I don't know why we do it. Except it's the most fun you can have in any business in the world. And she talked about critical acclaim. Some of it was more critical than others. But it's been a great, long road. I'm celebrating my 50th year in show business this year. And isn't that fun? But what's the most fun about it is that I'm still hanging in there. They haven't caught on to me yet, and I don't want them to. That's just about enough delay before we get to the real reason for today. And I think now we'll just let the ceremonies begin.
Recollections actually of wanting to be a reporter are, I don't remember ever wanting to do anything else in my life.
The TV2 News with Walter Jacobson and the TV2 News team.
Great for me. What could be better?
Our first presenter today has the distinction of being the very first woman ever to serve as the general manager of a commercial television station in Chicago. Before joining Fox 32 in 1993, she was vice president of advertising and promotion for the CBS-owned stations and promotion director for WBBM TV. But she gained fame in Miami as the promotion manager at WSVN with her attention-grabbing promos, distinctive graphic look, and unique creative style. Please join me in welcoming the Vice President and General Manager of WFLD TV, Fox 32, Stacey Marks Bronner. Stacey, there you come.
Thank you, Betty, although I'm sure what I'm famous for today. But I wanted to begin by, I was watching that tape and thought, is he difficult? Absolutely, he's difficult, Walter Jacobson. But I watch this tape and I see a friend, and I see a man that I respect and admire. But mostly I'm humbled to be part of his 34 years in television. I see the hole in the bottom of Walter's shoes, and I think, he still has holes in the bottom of his shoes. I saw the look in his eyes when he spoke to John Wayne Gacy, and I'm proud that the man with that passion puts it to work every day at WFLD. I see the pictures of Walter on the streets with the people of this city, and I think how lucky all of us are who live here that he still cares about the little guy, because he really believes that he is one. We have the good fortune, when he has the good fortune, and some of us do, of doing something you truly love and actually getting paid for it. What you realize is you're part of a very small group. Walter is definitely in that group. I want to tell you a story about Walter and me. It doesn't seem real, but it's absolutely true. We worked together for a very short time, about 7 months at WBBM. Walter and I were complaining, Walter was complaining and I was listening. And we talked about a time, one day in our lives, in our careers, when we would work at a station where we could do it our way. It seemed like a ridiculous comment at the time, but the opportunity became reality 5 years ago, this May, when Walter joined me at Fox News, Chicago. Then, surrounded by the best news director in the country, Deborah Wise-West, an incredible group of managers, reporters, and anchors, we live that dream every single day. I want to close by thanking Bill Curtis for being out of the country today, because it gave me the opportunity to present this award to my friend, a man who at 60 is still and will always be a child at heart. 34 years in the business hasn't changed him, and for that, I am grateful. Walter?
So you're going to leave me up here alone, right? So that I can find out if anybody has any questions about Jerry Springer? Like, why you do it? And what are you gonna do with him? What do Robin and Walter think about him? And, Robin and Walter gonna be Ron and Carol and all this? Since I...
Put him on the news. You could do that.
Since I never get to express my opinion on television, maybe I can express it here. But I won't do that to you, Stacy. Not today, anyway. After those nice things you said about me, how could I do that to you now? I thank you for saying those things. It makes me feel a little bit like Sally Field. Remember when she won the Oscar for, what was it, Norma Ray? And she said, I think you like me. Well, I think, Stacy, wherever you went, that you do like me. You want to renegotiate? What I'd ask you is 10 more years of what I'm doing, which I've been doing now, as you noticed, for 30 years. And, you know, liking it a lot, more than liking it a lot, loving it a lot. 30 years times 365 days. Minus days off, that's about 10,000 days of being an anchor and a commentator on television in this enormously, wonderfully competitive and challenging and unique and disparate and politically eruptive and always changing market. We never sit still here, do we, in Chicago television news? Which is how we like it, right? I like it that way because I'm a jumping bean and can't sit still. 10,000 days, almost 10,000 perspectives. What a break that's been for me. The assignment I've had for 30 years, to come to work in the morning and just check in on the world. Pol Pot and Tony Blair, Netanyahu and Arafat, and Saddam Hussein, and Hillary and Bill Clinton, and Ken Starr and Paula Jones, and Monica, and Jim Edgar and Pate Phillip and Rich Daley and his ward committeemen and their precinct captains. They're on my beat, and that's what I do. I check in on the whole world, whole wide world, and watch it spin. And then I focus in on our world. Get on the horn to City Hall or go into the neighborhoods where the committeemen and precinct captains are doing people wrong. I collect the facts, and then I get the pictures to back the facts up, and then I make a judgment, and I write it down, put on my glasses and my suspenders, and sit down at the anchor desk and talk about things, and then move to my corner and pop off about anything. I'm in heaven, and I've been there now for 30 years, a quarter of a century, through 13 general managers and 12 news directors, 21 news directors, 13 general managers and 21 news directors, who come and go faster than anchors and commentators do, in a market that for news is the most amazing, engaging, absorbing, arresting, and intensely challenging market in this whole country. There's always something happening here, and always a contest to find it. And that's my job, to find it, and to make it make sense to people who need to understand it. And in doing my job, I've learned. How lucky for me, how much I've learned about how the city that works really does work, and what it's like. I mean, what it feels like to drive a cab in Chicago on a Saturday night, and to live in Cabrini Green, and on welfare for a week. I've learned what it's like to fight the system and to lose, and what it's like what it feels like, as you saw in that tape, to be homeless and cold and hungry and alone in January in Chicago at 10 degrees below zero. Rob Feeder, are you here today somewhere? I know you think the story I did on the homeless was a stunt, and true enough, it did pump the ratings for a few days in the sweeps, but I learned things that I could not possibly have learned if I hadn't done it. Those experiences and others have been the work part of my job. The fun part has been the perspective. Catching bureaucrats in cookie jars, mauling McCaskey, hammering Harold, dissecting and dissing and dumping on the dailies, and razzing and rattling Rostenkowski, until of course he came on Fox News for election night, at which time I cooled it, because you know, you can't bite a hand that feeds you all the time. But I'll razzle him and rattle him again. And as long as Rupert doesn't mind or know about it, maybe I can continue getting paid for it. 10,000 nights since I put on those glasses and suspenders for the first time. You know, I didn't need the glasses or the suspenders to hold up my pants, but the image makers at CBS said they made me look older. Think about it, Walter, they said. You're wet behind the ears. And you want to do what Len O'Connor does? He's a grown-up with white hair, and he's Irish in an Irish town. You know, Fahey Flynn and John Coughlin, John Drury, and Dick Daley, and Rich Daley, and Joel Daley. When Len O'Connor carries on about City Hall, that's high believability. You, Walter, or Skippy, are not a grown-up. You're a boy with curly black hair and Jewish in an Irish town. When you carry on about City Hall, there is no believability. So what we need, Walter, is you in glasses and suspenders, so that maybe the viewers will somehow think that you're Ben Heck on the front page. Okay, I said, if you want me in glasses and suspenders, I'll wear glasses and suspenders, and here I am, 10,000 days later. I still don't need the suspenders, but I have become somewhat accustomed to the glasses. They help with the prompter when it stops or fades away all of a sudden, or in the middle of a sentence goes upside down. Which is to say that life on television isn't as easy as it looks, or as easy as most people think it is. In many ways, for many reasons, ours is a very difficult business. And to do it right, there are many things that we have to master, and surely I haven't mastered them, not yet. The technology and the endlessly and painfully evolving standards of truth and fairness and balance in reporting. And that question, you know, that persistent and still unanswered question, the essential bottom line question, what is news? And are we delivering it? I haven't mastered that yet either, but I'm working on it. I have, however, made it to the Silver Circle, something that 30 years ago I never would have imagined could have happened to me. But here's the proof. I'm in the Silver Circle, and I'm proud and very happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Meet Eugene Cartwright, a dapper young man ready to take